Cole Merch and the Jackman.
Yeah, look at there. Oh, look at there. Fatality.
Creativity is great, but plagiarism is faster.
So what's going on, everybody?
What's up? This is the Jackman.
Cole Merch, and we are here with...
Cody the Roadie hanging out.
Just hanging out. And we had a couple things on our mind. We'll kind of talk about some things that go on in the art and music scene that, some people are kind of scared to talk about. Some,
Plagiarism.
Plagiarism.
And stealing ideas.
Stealing ideas. Yeah, there's definitely a fine line, I guess, right? I mean, as far as art goes, there's a lot of people that work from reference, stuff like that.
Yeah, but see, okay. So we know, obviously, plagiarism for writing is, using the same words or intellectual property or whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
Specifically words, though. Quoting somebody without citing them.
Crediting.
Yeah, exactly. So, what about with, music and art,
Where do you,
because there's a lot of bands that do covers, which obviously isn't plagiarizing. But then there's bands that say they're inspired by the band, then they kind of go off.
Very similar roots.
Yeah, but then it's not necessarily exactly the same either. Like, bands could have a lot of influences,
Yep.
It's weird. There's, a gray area in it.
Really is. I know, blatant, plagiarism. Personally, I'm not going to name names, but, I've known people that, you're hanging out, you show something to, and then the next thing you know, you hear their next song that they've put out, and it's, your
the exact
riff.
Same riff, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's not what I mean, yeah.
Yeah. That's blatant plagiarism, but, what can you do about it? What are you going to do? Call a lawyer? Cry about it? Facebook status?
Yeah, we all know, stealing a logo, a band's logo, or, blatantly, even taking their name, I guess,
There's 2 death threats? What's up with that? One from Connecticut, one from Tennessee.
I don't like that at all.
I don't like that at all.
Connecticut death threat or get the fuck out.
Oh, fuck you if you don't like Connecticut death threat.
Absolutely, I agree, but...
But
no, it's different with music. Obviously, words are words, so...
There's only so many
exactly
words, I get
same.
that. And
No.
there's only so many things you can, pick from. But...
Well, what about, words with lyrics, even? Plagiarizing, lines, or even just slightly changing them.
It's happened. Look at comedians and shit. They get
poetry,
busted all the time for basically stealing jokes that they've previously cited that I like that person's special, and then they get caught later on, and then they're like, I have no idea how that could have happened. Yeah.
Sorry.
I think it's funny in music industry where you're part of a specific genre, and then because of that, your songs are always kind of similar to everyone else in your genre.
Pandering.
Yeah, country music, pandering, and all that other bullshit. But if you're in a hardcore thing, a lot of your lyrics are the same. Not so much the same, but ideas. And if you have a rough childhood, how many musicians had rough childhoods, or any situation where they had their back against the wall, and then they have to come up, the way they deal with it is to write about it. So how many different ways can you write about it without sounding the same?
Yeah.
It's true.
And because of that, even the music style in the genre sounds the same. The lyrics are similar, but just because they're, I don't know, it's weird because you can have them as similar as possible, and no one's ever the wiser. They're just whatever, it's part of the genre, it's cool, we like both bands. But the second they use the same line or the same chords or the same progression, it's fucking plagiarism.
It's
and then there's
crazy noticeable,
someone
though,
freaking out about it.
Yeah. Oh,
like
yeah.
it's the same to begin
Whistleblowers.
with. That's why
Well-
you enjoy both bands, but just now because it's exactly the same, or you hear it that way. Now all of a sudden it's a bad thing.
Can I
Yeah.
can I interject for just one
Go
second?
for it.
for
Go
sure,
for
dude.
it.
Like what I was talking about earlier with the Ice Baby and Under Pressure.
Yeah, that's an obvious one.
You know what I
Come on,
mean?
that's been going on for years, but
No, I know, but it's obvious, yeah.
Well, he sampled that though.
he sampled it and he added the little hi hat and he changed it.
Yeah, but he still had to pay royalties for that.
he
oh
ended
yeah, he
up
still
having
yeah,
to,
yeah,
but,
he ended up having
but
to, but at
he
first
claimed he came up with it.
Yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I never even knew that.
Oh yeah. Oh god. Yeah.
Wow.
In the very
He was
beginning,
like,
he
"Yo,
totally
it's
claimed-
totally my bullshit."
He was like, ours goes. There's like an interview of it.
Yeah, yeah, and he's like, "Mine goes dun 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 dun." Tss.
yeah, he like totally thought he had it. Like, he
Oh,
thought
so
he
that's why
invented
he's
it.
broke, because he's just a complete idiot.
He's a joke. Yeah.
No, but
What do you think?
I don't know, man. I mean, you could do it without realizing it too. I think like
You think so?
genuine.
Well, that's why. I mean, I've listened to like other interviews or whatever podcasts, any sort of thing with like people that write or do anything. They'll be like, yeah, like if I'm writing an album or writing lyrics, like I can't listen to so and so that is kind of like compared to me or whatever. Or like
Yep.
even something kind of similar because like they'll always gravitate towards.
Because it feels like something you would naturally.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
mean, like it might be something subconscious that has
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I feel like writing, like a book or an essay, whatever, like writing like that. If it's like an article or an essay or some shit, that has to be intentional. You know what I mean? Because you had to look that shit up to copy someone's exact words.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You didn't just spew that shit out of your head by accident. But I feel like with music, it could be unintentional at times. You know what I mean?
I feel like anything that's an art form has a more of a gray area for plagiarism than something that you're going to receive credit for, or like that you do research for, like
That's
like
exactly what I'm
papers
saying,
or I mean, schoolwork. That was a big thing. Like teachers would know if you plagiarize something, but
Oh,
like
yeah.
if you're getting graded on something, like on a hard number, like it's a little bit different than if you're just interpreting yourself through art, like
Yeah.
whether it's a painting, music, like anything.
Well, I was
Like
gonna
look at like cooking. There's no such thing as plagiarism. Like, oh, you just use somebody's recipe. Like it's not plagiarism. Like you made something. Like that's the same thing.
no
kind
matter
of.
what, it'll never be exactly the same.
Right, but
Trust me.
but I mean, that's the same. Like if you were to say about music, or if you're like writing a paper.
Well, art is more about shared ideas too, because like you could take the same subject and like 10 different people interpret it 10 different ways.
Yep.
So I mean, when it comes to art with plagiarism, that shit's pretty serious. You know what I mean? There's no right or wrong. Well, or music really, but so like if you like legit stole someone's like what I said a tattoo before, but
Yeah.
you legit the flash is different. That's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
So just to clarify,
Yep.
you legit steal someone else's. Come on,
Yeah.
you should have a better
I mean,
artistic
they-
ability than that. I mean, using it as a reference is different, but to like trace it or something,
Try to totally
like
copy it.
literally copy
That's
it.
not cool.
I'm saying like straight up copy it.
Yeah,
you know?
that's not allowed.
Not using it as not using it as inspiration. Like
Yeah,
dead up copying the thing. That's too much.
it's a bad move.
When art is such like a loose thing, you know?
Was there ever a time where like an artist or tattoo artist or anybody like in that field where like if they were copied, literally traced and outlined, like line for line, color for color, is there ever a time where like if they receive credit then like they don't mind as much? Like what I mean? Like if
I don't
if
know.
one like
I know,
shittier
but I've
tattoo
seen
artist
the
traced
alternative.
something out and then like tattooed it on somebody and be like, oh, this is a so and so
And it
original
was better.
who like tattooed this on so
Sorry,
and
mine
so.
isn't as good.
Yeah, like if he came out and said that, and like the person who got tattooed said the original artwork is by this guy, my artist tattooed it. Like, there's never. Is there ever a time where
I'm sure it's happened, man. Honestly,
where that's just cool?
There's so
Well-
much of that. I mean, think of our state. We have one of the smallest states, and I know like probably 3 or 4 like serious, like, you know, in our state and maybe even New England, like well-known artists that like every so often they'll post something about like, you know, their art got stolen. They'll show the picture of the other guy.
Yeah.
And it's like the fucked
Really?
up angle that was in the picture, not even like the real tattoo. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty typical. But like,
Really?
But like, so I can only imagine like, you know, country wide, like how bad it is.
See, I'm not talking.
I'm sure that's happened before, where they're like, you know what, like I'm like, you know, I got the, you know, I could do it on the skin just as well, but like I can't come up with the idea kind of thing. So I'm just gonna steal this dude's idea and do it on someone's skin and copy it exact.
Right,
Like,
but what I'm saying is like
I
if
can replicate
if he gave that original artist credit for it, like, oh, this is
That's
his
what I'm
original
saying.
artwork.
Yeah.
That's
Would that original artist be cool with it, or would he still be just as pissed?
if it. That's what I was talking about with Flash.
Because then there you
If
go.
it comes from the
There you
Flash
go.
book, they sold them that.
No, what I'm saying
You
is
get
like
what I'm
you
saying?
saw it, somewhere, like you know what I mean, like
Yeah. No, I get it.
say you like worked with the dude and like had a stencil,
yeah.
like you just fucking snagged one.
And you're like, ah, dude, I love that tattoo.
See,
I
but
did
Like
That's-
I it'd be so fun to tattoo, and then like you go put it on somebody, give him all the credit, and like coming
well, no,
up with
you
the idea.
did the tattoo though.
Right, but it's not your original because he came up with the actual drawing.
But tattooing itself is an art.
Right.
All
that's-
I'm saying is, like, would you consider that plagiarism? Because I kind of don't.
No, what I'm
Like,
saying
if
is like
someone
because
came in and asked you
this-
for
it
something
wasn't-
by
it wasn't really
someone
about
else,
plagiarism. I was just
usually
more-
the artist will do it. I mean, most will probably be a little reluctant, like to do someone else's thing.
Right.
I know, bringing in a picture of another
Yeah.
tattoo is a pain in the fucking ass,
Yeah,
but
it's kind of, yeah.
but you know what I'm saying. You are trying to make a client happy.
I was just asking.
I'm sorry.
It
but-
wasn't so much about plagiarism. I was asking if there would ever be a case where a tattoo artist would be cool of having another artist tattoo his exact original like drawing
If he shot it out to
if
him.
he gave him credit for it at all times. You know what I mean? Like
I don't know. Ask Jack.
I have no idea because
Dude, in my experience, I think that any tattoo artist would not like that. Like any real tattoo.
that's what I
artist.
figured.
You?
I think would I like that?
Yeah.
If I was, unless they're giving me a cut of like what they're doing, like that's my original art. If it's something totally unique to myself, it's not just like a skull and a rose or something. You know, like if it's something totally unique, it's stylized my way, and then they totally exactly try to rip it off, I'd be heated.
That's what I figured. Because, I mean, if you look at bands and stuff, anybody who ever thinks that a band, you know, ripped off their riff,
Yeah.
they're pretty angry about it no matter how, like, minute difference there are. Like,
Right.
difference there is.
Right.
Oh, and you know what happens, man.
Happens all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
Happened with us.
You know.
You know, we wrote something, and then, you know, 6 months later, a band happens to come out with something that sounds like
You guys.
semi-similar. Yeah, it's just, you know, it happens.
I mean,
You're
in
like,
in
oh,
music-
okay,
No,
well,
no,
we
it happened to me
no,
too. I
but
was
like,
just
you know,
saying.
usually you're like, oh, okay, well, let's change it now, so it doesn't sound like that band that people don't think we ripped that, you know, them off.
But, like, I mean,
But
what I
as
was
a
saying
local
before,
band, you know, it's
like, music is different, too, because if you're in the same genre, there's bound to be a little bit of a crossover. Like, there's bound to be a little bit of similarity.
There definitely
But if
is.
you hear something that's like,
That's different.
you know, kind of like Ice Ice Baby and Under
Yeah,
Pressure,
yeah,
like
yeah.
that just has one
Like,
little
you guys have the
difference.
same fucking chorus. you
Yeah.
know?
Like if there's anything like that, I know musically one band is always pissed off. So I figured it was the same for like tattoo artists or just artists in general.
yeah.
But I mean, I know in bands there's a group of people that are kind of egging each other on, like, no, fuck, we came up with that. Like,
Yep.
this is bullshit.
Well, I can tell you from experience because, I mean, even though I'm only, you know, very, very, like,
You're a rookie.
yeah, I'm a rookie, very, you know, I'm starting out, but I've already had experience with people, like, you know, stealing your artwork. Or remember that one person that tried to steal my design and sell it to some other person. The
Are you
eye
serious?
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
What
I've had
eye thing?
people like
I didn't
actually
hear that
take
about
work
that.
from my Instagram and then like try to do their own version of it.
Yep.
Yeah,
And I don't even
See-
consider myself to be like the, you know,
but you got to be careful with that too, because people steal your shit on Instagram and then put it on their own as theirs.
That's what he did.
Well, that's pretty much
essentially.
what happened, yeah.
That's why you gotta make sure you watermark
Yeah.
your shit.
Yeah, well, you know.
I know you don't
It gets a little
want. You don't
cheesy.
want to.
But then on the other hand, I've also had the music, you know, the guitar playing side where you hung out with somebody maybe once or twice, and then next thing you know, they come out with a song, and
they're in a different band. They like came to hang out with you because they wanted to start a
yeah,
band.
and the
and
next
then,
thing you know, your riff
yeah.
is featured on, and it's their best song. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, trust
but
me, that's happening.
real quick, I just
Yes,
want to say
sir.
that we're gonna have a part 2 of this podcast. It's gonna be posted. Make sure everyone clicks on the part
Oh,
2.
we're getting to the end. All right,
We're going to be
boys.
going to Herb of the Week.
Oh, there's a
We're gonna do-
herb.
We're going to
Yeah.
be doing a segment,
Maybe a
so
couple?
everybody click on it. You know, don't leave us hanging.
Yeah, make sure you check
Click on
out
it.
part 2.
Part 2, guys. Thank you very
Do it up.
much.